Okay, I think everybody is, or everything is working somewhat correctly now. I'm just going to stop letting myself echo. And let's start off with a little bit more shameless self-promotion. There we go. Be doing some more live mining and might feel free to drop by twitch.tv/FluffierThanThou. Hey, Erdo. I'm starting to get quicker at this. Is it with No, I forgot the link again. Is it capitalized? No, it isn't. God. There you go. Now people can actually click it. You know what? I'm just going to copy paste this. I can't make any more mistakes. And we are a content creator. Apparently one of the few ones. Alright, I've seen a couple of people already, but let me get my chat up just to be sure. And that doesn't have a history apparently. And it's put itself behind there. Okay, let's get started. I'm not really sure what to do tonight. I think we got most of the stuff for Colony Manager and Work tab done, but let's have a quick look. Colony Manager, Work tab. Well, I guess there's still a couple of things going on. This one seems to have been mostly resolved, so let's put that in future. All right. Sorry, I'm just setting up one last thing. Yeah. Yep. All right, that should do the trick. Good evening, Code Optimist, Erdelf, and Smashville. Glad you guys are joining again. So yeah, unless anybody has a better idea, I'm just gonna get started with some of the old issues. And many of these are ancient. Like this has been around since forever, and shouldn't actually be too hard to fix. So I'm thinking just go over that one. Maybe have a look at the better pawn control one, but maybe see if we can do something on our end without having to work together about it. Let's start with resetting mods in Mod Manager. Yeah, we can do that too. Let's add Mod Manager to the list. Actually, let's have a look at if there's anything critical. Yeah, that's a small tweak we can fix. We need to do this at some point. This might be interesting. You didn't actually make an issue, did you, Adolf? I'm not sure if I can do this now. Let's have a quick look at that one first. I think that was just some names being incorrect. The problem with that out is that I either have to do it immediately, or it doesn't get done at all. Yeah, so he changed a couple of names, which I should probably have to do in my mail merge then, for my script to pick that up. So he wants it to be changed from Nikita to Torque and Lex 1790 19F75. Numbers are difficult. Alright, we can fix that. We're going to colony manager. So I've got my script set up to look at the mill map file, which is because it's basically just doing some git command. I forget which command exactly, to grab the commit headlines and the authors, and then it respects the mill map. And otherwise it just uses the username that they use for git or for that particular commit, which sometimes turns out to be like their real name or something, which is not ideal. So I've got like my own 2 email addresses in there, and that links back, and then some other dude who had it where it referred to his own name. So I need to do that for this one as well, which means I need to figure out what his email is. But it should tell me at some point, but apparently not here. Oh, come on. There? I know I can get it from the... Is this going to do it? No, because that doesn't give me his email address. Alright, we should be able to get it from the git log. Calling manager log. That's just lots of me, that's Chris, that's some other stuff. Where are you? Where are you? You are not in this list. How is there no tracking information? We're still in the little test branch we made yesterday for the problem with scribing infex. This should work though. Alright. And then it should tell me that I have something coming in. No. No, because I'm not pulling that pull request. I'm terrible at this shit. Alright, you know what? Let's just have a quick look at what the actual command was and see if I can fix it that way. Then I can show off some of the release script as well, in all of its horror. Right. So that is in the release script and post build. So this entire monolith of code is kind of what I started with. And somewhere in here is the way to get the change notes. So yeah, that gets the one that gets the note since the last commit or something. So if we just do git log pretty and do the same thing. Do I care very much? Probably not, but let's find out. Oh, come on. There we go. Don't need to do that now. That's better. Oh no, but that doesn't add their email. And that still doesn't give me the right person. Am I even looking at the right mod? Because why are they not on the list? I am a moron. Hey. Okay, so we add that email to the mail merge for mod manager. Mail map. And we want it to be called doc. That should do the trick. Then he shouldn't get re-added, and then we just need to change the current thing that we do for him. So this is just dork. Hopefully that'll work. Just update it quickly, see what happens. Yeah, I was afraid of that. Oh well, I'll give him a separate mention. That'll probably be me for more future proof. Alright, update it one more time and then we can just release it again. And the actual pull request this time was really only the names, I think. Yeah. Alright. Okay, so that's been updated. Quickly want to check something else because I set up some more integrations. I mean, I'm kind of getting addicted to adding bots and kind of things. But hey, new commits, new releases. That is kind of cool. I started calling it the GitHub bot though. It was supposed to be called something else. Oh well. Alright. We are going to quickly make the add an option to mod manager to add mod manager back in the mod list when you reset the mod list. So currently there's a reset button that just brings it back to core, and we're going to assume that everybody who clicks that wants to also add the mod manager itself back, unless they specifically mention otherwise. So we need to do two things. We need to add the setting, and we need to add a little bit of logic in the mod list reset thingy. Shouldn't be too hard. Oh, and I need to remove that one, but that's a different thing. I got halfway with adding or creating a new mod mismatch warning kind of thing, but I actually kind of just removed the old one and never actually created a new one. So I had several error reports that I'm now currently removing the mod mismatch dialog warning, which is, yeah, not great. But first things first. So the settings are over here, and this will just be a very simple setting: public bool add mod manager to new mod lists, and we'll initialize that as true. We need to look at this at some point, because this is how I save colors at the moment. So I'm saving them in the settings for mod manager, which is causing a bunch of issues, because for some reason those settings sometimes get lost. I'm not entirely sure why. Maybe people delete them, maybe it's mod manager itself doing it, making copies, maybe it's RimWorld, I have no idea. But they tend to get lost, and people tend to get upset when they spend a lot of time adding colors to their mod list. And then they lose them. So yeah. But again, first things first. I'll just add describe, look ref, and this will have the same label, and the default value will be true. Alright, that's it. We don't need to do anything fancy. This is like fancier stuff to reinstate the mod attributes lists and stuff. We don't need to do any of that, because it's just a simple true false flag. Then, in the tab, if I can find it, oh, come on. Is this it? No. Oh, it's a page, of course. I'm used to working with tabs, but in this phase of game setup, they're called pages, not tabs. So this is in the mod list buttons section. I'm not entirely sure which functions are called, but you can find out easily enough. There's a float menu for the thing. I know it's just one single button somewhere. These are issues. Yeah. Okay, so this is saying if there are 2 or more mods in the list, and the first one, there's either no first mod or the first mod is the core mod. Wait, what? Does that really resolve in that way? No, I don't think it did. Interesting. So I think we actually had that the wrong way around. So there was trying to say there is if it's not the first mod or it's null. No, that was fine. Because if null, then it should be true. No, this will work. Not a great if statements if you have to think so long about what it actually does, but anyway, then the button shows up. I don't like this. Anyway, then the button shows up, and we use mod button manager reset. So we can look in here, and this is just deactivating everything and then saying we want to reactivate core. And apparently there is some reason why we wouldn't want to reactivate core sometimes. Kind of curious why that would be. Right. Right, so this is when we apply a mod list, then I also just reset it first and I tell it not to reactivate core. So let's give this a more descriptive name now, because this is not technically what it's doing anymore. This is now just saying like add default mods. And then we say core mod should be active, and if settings, mod manager settings, sorry, Adolf, I didn't get that quickly enough. The question was about what? Oh, about buttons. If you're talking about what I think you're talking about, then the way the tab is set up is that each mod is still a mod, but a mod button can be one or more mods. Yeah? So a mod button can represent several versions of the same mod. Steam versions, local versions, old backup versions, whatever. So anything with the same name basically gets bunched up in the same mod button. Yeah, so all of these buttons are active. So this one, for example, is the button for mod manager. And within that, it can have either of these two versions active. So this is the Steam version, and this is my current local version, which is ahead of the Steam version a little bit. And you can theoretically have any number of local versions. I don't think I have any good examples at the moment, but I've had 3 or 4 local versions at some points in the past. It's not very elegant, it leads into quite a bit of trouble sometimes, but this should be loaded before Huxlip. I love it. Why though? But cool. Alright, well, let's not go into that. So the problem I have now is that I don't have a direct accessor to this, apparently. I do it through mod manager sometimes. Yeah, here I get the instance and the settings and blah blah blah. So I should do it through there. So just in mod manager and then settings, and then I can get this one. Then all I need is just a reference to the mod that we're looking for, which is mod manager. So this is just yeah, you can just copy that from mod manager, I think. Just needs to have a different oh wow, I went a little bit over the top here, I think. Right, so the mod button installed has an override for is core mod, and that just says selected is core mod is false. And selected is actually an instance of mod metadata, so that's what the game uses as a mod class. Yeah, sure, let's follow the same approach. I'm not necessarily happy about this, but and then I don't think I can do this easily. So I've selected is null, zero false. Otherwise, return selected, and then the identifier should be something specific. But let's use my version of it. Because that will look at the actual identifier as well as the mod name and the identifier set in the manifest. So considering I'm looking for myself, I should probably just give it a really strong name in the manifest and use that. So we'll use a reverse domain kind of thing. One person said the SRTS weren't placing, so the other person working on it with me put that it should be loaded first at the top. Wow. But even before Huxlip, that seems harsh. But sure, maybe. Possible. Unlikely. Yeah. Oh well. I suppose it can't really hurt all that much. As long as you don't actively use Huxlip for anything, which I guess you're not, because it doesn't provide any like real in-game benefits or functions. Yeah. So I need to add this as an abstract to here. Manager. Okay, and then this should work, great, and then this should work. Right, is this also defined here? No, because do I really need to do this? I really don't. I can remove these because missing and downloading mods can basically never be the core mod or the mod manager mod, at least not for the purposes that I'm doing this check. So we might as well just give them a virtual and return false. We don't clutter up the other tabs. Okay, I actually need to set the identifier in the manifest then. So this is normally unnecessary because you can resolve it to either the Steam ID if you know that, or the name of the mod without spaces. But the problem with that is that it's kind of using names is just not a brilliant idea, generally speaking. So you can specifically define an identifier for your mods, and then other mods can use that specific identifier to to target your mods in their manifest files. Okay. I think that should actually be it. Within the manager is where we do the reset. Oh no, we need to reactivate it. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, so now it's complaining that you're not... may crash the game. Alright, alright. Let's fix it then. I want to stop quick start for a moment because I'm working on mod manager. I think this may have inadvertently gone back to my broken version of SRTS, so this is not representative for what it's supposed to look like. Anyhow, we can test it now, because if we click this button, I need to change the localization clearly, but this should now add core and mod manager, and it doesn't. Damn it. What the fuck? Sorry. That's certainly interesting. Okay. Yeah, that's the right version. Yeah. You know, I completely missed that entire thing. Like on the Vimworld Discord at some point also, I was like the awoo thing, the meme. It took me forever to figure out what that was actually, what that was. I'm not into the memes anymore. God, I feel old saying that. Why are you not working? This annoys me. You should be working. Damn it. Maybe it's looking at the tooltip and saying like, no, that's not what you want. You want core only. Did I not put the setting up? I mean, I initialized the setting for to be true, but maybe it's not actually. Let's find out. We should probably add the actual toggle for it as well anyway. Where is that though? Oh yeah. Setting window content. Optimist, hey, what's up? Good to see you again. Alright, let's add another gap and checkbox labeled. Oh yeah, I decided I wanted to be fancy and then have like an internationalization class in this one. Oh wow, that's a new one. Mining designates diagonal tines which can't be mined diagonally. Yeah, It's entirely possible. I should probably revisit that code at some point anyway, because it's kind of... I'm sure there's a cleverer way to do it, because what I'm usually doing first is just some sort of brute force approach, and then try to fine-tune it later. I don't think I ever got to the fine-tuning phase for that one. Anyway, this is add mod manager to... what do we call this? I don't have the name here. To new mod list, whatever. Ref settings. Huh, apparently that is exactly what I called it. And this will just be the tip for that. Alright, let's add those. That does not need to be a property. That is key. Add mod manager to new mod lists. And we basically have the exact same one for the tip. And then let's do the translations before I forget about them, because I often do. Yeah, where should this be? Well, where's the reset mod? There, let's just plop it there. Fluffy mod manager. Add colony. Yeah, but the point of the mining tab is that it can it designates only visible tiles, as in like revealed tiles, and well, it should only be mineable ones, because otherwise you can get stuck in a corner basically. If it for somehow only reveal or designates tiles that you cannot actually mine, then at some point you might just, yeah, have enough designated to fill your job where colony manager is concerned, but you will never actually get any of the metals that you think you'll be getting, or stone, or whatever. So that is kind of a bug. It is supposed to designate tiles that can actually be mined. I'm sure there's lots of edge cases as well though, because if you leave the settings to default for the safety setting, it'll just leave a pillar every 10 cells. If that just happens to be within like a 1 cell wide mineral vein, then you're also just screwed. Manager to new mod lists. Really don't think this needs a tip actually, but oh well. Core only. We need to change this to be core and mod manager then, I guess, as well. Or just do it like that. Add colony manager to new mod lists in addition to core, the core mod. There we go. Good enough. So with the translations there now, we have the actual the actual display for it, the toggle for it. Why do you have a different color? I have the toggle for it, which will now also always be white. And yeah. Let's see if the problem was that it wasn't toggled or something. I thought I removed you. Yes. Okay, now it works. What the? So I can't reset it because it's just core in there. If it's anything else, then we can reset it to core and mod manager. And the setting is not here? Wait, what? But why? I'm so confused. What? This is just exactly the same settings, right? It's just a link to that. Yeah, this is also the only mod I've got with settings. Huh? Is it? Don't I have Huxlip loaded? No, I don't have Huxlip loaded anymore. Awesome. I'm sure I can ban you. There we go. Huxlip. I just blocked him. I assume that also banned him. I don't know if it actually is the case though. So if he's still posting shit, then please let me know and I can look at it if I can ban him better. Right. Let me quickly see if we can resolve that. Oh gosh, that's a different person as well. So are we just gonna keep having them now? So we ban him. We ban him. Yeah. Not sure why they're purple actually. Maybe they just get random colors, I guess. Alright. That should fix that though. I hope they're not back, and if they do come back, then we'll have to look at some different moderation options. I need to minimize the stream manager, otherwise I'm looking at myself, that's just weird. Alright, And we've got Huxley back, and we've got the mod manager again. Please be here. Why is this option not here? Am I really this stupid? Remove version numbers from mod names. That is exactly what was above there, right? Is it activating the wrong version? Somehow. It cannot be, because then it wouldn't be working. At all. Anyway, this is the trim version strings, trim tags. So that's actually what we're seeing. Tags, version names. That's working. There's just nothing below there. Why is there nothing below there? Am I... Should I have given myself more space to work in or something? Is it just cutting off the bottom? In the settings, I don't even know where I'm supposed to be doing this anymore. Good evening, Palador. Welcome back. But only one Diet Coke, so you can't drink more rum until you run out of Coke. You can always just drink rum pure. I feel like I should be better about this stuff. So where's this called from? Never, anywhere, nowhere. Just has 0 references. Is this... really just in the mod? View settings, window, contents? Yeah. And that just gets a specific rect. Is that rect just too small? Does listing standard have a built-in scroll bar? Alright, first of all, let's just draw a fugly box around the rect. Canvas. Just to see what we're dealing with. Yeah, you probably shouldn't. You shouldn't drink alone too much anyway. I'm not. Alright, this is getting silly. Okay, so this is 875, 134.875. 134.875. That's what we're doing. And this is updating, right? If I'm... that build number should be updating eventually. Is it just building your fluffy UI? Are you kidding me? Is that the problem? No, I've seen this. This should have been so easy. I need to verify what is actually happening here, because this is silly. those are getting updated. It's just yeah. Okay. This is I'm not using Dropbox anymore. I mean, I'm using Dropbox for some stuff, but all of this stuff is in a pre-drive, which I use, P-Cloud drive, which is great because it's cheaper. It's in the European Union, which matters for my work and everything because we don't necessarily want our data to be on American servers. But like honestly, Dropbox just works, and all of the other cloud providers I've used have issues. So I'm kind of annoyed with it, but right, no, mod manager. Damn it. Mod manager. Assemblies. Just get rid of the whole shebang. They'll get added in again. That looks better. Yeah, I can imagine. Whoop-de-doo. Okay, we apparently screwed up the key for the label, but at least the actual scrolling size wasn't a problem. So we can remove the ugly box, fix the key, probably capitalize something that I shouldn't have or whatever, and yeah, the other stuff is working, right? So yeah. I just want to add Huxley back. Right. So in Mod Manager, you can remove this. Need to figure out what is going wrong here. And these are working. And this is mod lists, and the other one is mod list. And let's just use mod list. And this one is also using mod list. So yeah. Oh god, can you just get rid of this one, please? Thank you. Yeah, that was one reason I don't like Dropbox. Most other cloud service providers have the ability to filter out certain folders and files, so you can just not share and synchronize your Git folder. Because yeah, that is one thing that it did sometimes fuck up, and Git doesn't like it when something else messes around with its folders very much. So I mean, at least I don't have that problem. Now I just have a problem that sometimes when like I'm editing files programmatically, so with a compile script or something, then it locks the files, it seems, while the thing is updating it, and sometimes it just goes wrong. Yeah, normally it's a little bit more obvious than this, but since everything is now hidden by my release script, I couldn't actually see it happening. But anyway, that was fixed. So Erdolf, I'm gonna name this one after you. Updates. Now, mod list resets. Now add mod manager to the list optionally. This is the AirDelph update. Okay, that was one. And I wanted to at least quickly look at the reason. Yeah, so this replace mod page mods config. I had it's like I had a work in progress thingy. The only problem is that this it kind of just removes the current pop-up you get. So when you try to load a game that doesn't have the same mod list, so I don't know, let's do that one. It just loads it, apparently. And this should be giving us millions of errors. Yep, our entire UI has just disappeared. Did I do that? Huh, interesting. Anyway, not good. So if we just remove that patch for now, we'll work on it again in the future a little bit. Maybe later tonight even. But for now, this just shouldn't be. Yeah. Yeah, this was load function or something. I don't know why it was load function. It should have just been call, I think. Either way. This is just dead code now. Because the Harmony patch code is removed. I don't explicitly call it, so it shouldn't do anything anymore. Which means that if we now start RimWorld, it should complain about mod mismatches and stuff like that. So if we load this one, please tell me you're actually going to complain. Did it fuck this up again? Oh, come on! Right, I've turned my sync software off. Let's try that again. No, need to recompile. More than just fluffy UI, please. There we go. Yeah, AirDelph, what are you working on? Just Harmony? I think I may have removed the actual patch that actually does the page mods configs. Oops. Then I don't know. Oh, it's this one. Try create dialogues with voice and yeah, this is the one that's the problem. Right, it's not creating conflicting stuff anymore. Good. Are you still actively working on it? I thought you've kind of put it in like feature complete mode. What kind of frameworks? Alright. So what are you thinking about adding then? I thought I should be updating that. Apparently not. Yeah, fair enough. I'm sorry, I just need to fill up my my e-cigarette or my vape stick or whatever you want to call it. I used to smoke quite a lot. And I switched to e-cigarettes now. So I started with nicotine in that, and now I'm just using it sporadically with without nicotine even. It's just the motion of it. But yeah. Hmm. And verbs expansion framework? Is that like verbs for animals, or is that just more verbs for humans? Or I didn't even know there was a framework for that. I've really been out of the loop on the modding scene for a while, I guess. Yes, this is what we wanted. We should be getting this message. And I just had a proving, like a proof of concept bit of code that I didn't actually mean to commit, lying around, and then I accidentally committed it when I did like my updates last week for adding some languages and stuff. So I got a couple of complaints about this. Anyway, so this is good. We're now getting that error again, which also means that other mods that fix that can plug back into it. I still want to change it so that when you do this, you can it uses the mod manager functionalities. Or you can just you have like an option to go back to mod manager and fix it from there, because load mod list from save only works if you've got those specific actual mods. So you can't use like a local version or something like that, which would work if you had if you did it the mod manager way. That was a really quick reload, actually. Impressive. Wouldn't that also intersect with the things like the magic framework and stuff? That stuff that isn't Jackrol working on that? Hmm. But that's basically what verbs are, right? They're just like attacks and attack kind of things. Isn't that kind of the same thing? Or am I oversimplifying it? This stop suppressing the mod mismatch dialog. We didn't actually get an issue on GitHub on it, so I can't reference anything like that, which is a shame. I always like doing that, but the abilities are way higher level and more abstract. Yeah, okay. So you would do more like in the code sense, make things easier to work with. All right. Thinking, I don't know how much need there is for this, but one of the things that I know are hard coded and like hard to work with is like the medicine stuff. And there's a bunch of different mods having different solutions for adding more types of medicine and stuff. At least the last time I checked. That might be a worthwhile thing to look at as well. Anyway, we can push this. I'm just doing another update, but it really doesn't matter. And I like seeing my bot do some work. I know it's silly, but I think this stuff is so amazing. Actually seeing it work and stuff. Oh, always very nice. It's a hard to touch subject with a number of very high submods. Is there so many mods that touch medicine? I mean, some of mine do, but they are fairly vanilla in that sense. I mean, there's tons of races as well. It's just that you got there early, so they're all using the framework already. But the same can be said for abilities and stuff. Are people still trying to add abilities that much? Yeah, I know, but it from what I remember, it did it in a kind of hacky way, and it didn't really work with a lot of other mods. Yeah. Oh, maybe it's been improved since then. It's entirely possible. Yeah, I know it works with pharmacy. That did need to be explicitly added in. Luckily, not by me, but okay. That was actually relatively quick. What else are we going to look at? No, I'm not feeling that. Not feeling that one either. Hey, let's do this one. Diagonal mining. That too. Yes. You know what? You're here. Let's do that one. So let's have a look at the code for that. We would be in the mining job, I guess. I haven't looked at this in ages. Right. All right. So this is what we're actually looking at. So it be flagged as mineable. It should be the mineral should be allowed. What is this? Yeah. So if any of them, why am I doing this? Oh well. Yeah. Sure. It should be allowed. It should not be fogged. Should not yet be designated. And it should be reachable. No, I don't actually do any of it's just the vanilla designators. It's exactly the same as if you would. Yeah, it should be in it's reachable. But yeah, I just do path and mode touch, which I would think is the correct choice, but apparently not. Can Closest touch, interaction cell. I don't know. We can look at what the actual job for it uses. No idea what it's called though, so let's have a quick look. Work type dev for it. Got some stat devs here. Job driver mine. Okay. Do you know if closest touch is four-way, or is there a four-way version? Or do I need to explicitly check that? I mean, I guess we'll find out soon enough. Wait, no, this is not where I will find out. But I can get to there from here, I would think. Yeah, because it's going to be in the job driver. This should have... Am I looking at it wrong? Is it the job giver? It's a job giver, right? Ugh. Is mine random? Is there a different mine one? No, just mine random. Yeah, that's because it's going to be in job giver work. I don't know. I'm so terrible at this stuff. Well, it's got to have a scanner at least. No? Oh yeah. Yeah. I get confused between the differences between work givers and job givers and stuff like that sometimes. But yeah, you're right, of course. And then here it should have, yeah, do we have a job on this thing? And we should also have potential work things. Okay. So it's going over all of the designations. It then checks the actual cell and gen adjacent cells, which is an in fact 8. So that is going over all 8. Then it says maybe accessible, and then it says mineable each does target cell get first mineable pawn if each need to know. What does this do? What does this need to have a... Oh no, that's just a map. I'm trying to find out how the normal mining work giver decides what areas are mineable. So how does it decide where it can stand, which areas it can mine? So I think the problem is that if you designate something like this, then it shouldn't be designated because this is not mineable, right? Yeah, it says no path. Yeah, So I'm just quickly looking at the vanilla one and see how it comes up with that fact. So this is this potential work things, and this is just a simple check, and I'm guessing then maybe it's looking at a different, because then in has job on thing it could actually, this one, no, that's just adjacency. This is using path and mode touch as well. Oh goshy, what the hell is this? Alright, so let's see if it's in a container or whatever. It's on a different map, yeah sure, could have done that at the start. Yeah, this one. But then bottom left, top right, bottom right. Why is it calling them that? Then it shouldn't just be calling them top, bottom, left, right, right? This implies that these are the diagonal corners. Yeah, okay, so it's saying it's in the 8-way and not in the corners. Wow. That seems like a very roundabout way to do it. I'm still not convinced though, because it was using path and mode touch, so I'm not sure why this is not using that then. So this is reachability can reach, and it's using the same kind of thing. And allowed adjacent blah 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 blah. Oh god, this is so much harder to read. Anyway, can I just use immediate then as well? Is that the... But I don't want to do that because that might change things for other things. And other jobs can be done diagonally, so I need to override this one then, I guess. It's not a huge deal. Because this is the only real difference that they were using. And apparently dot has them. That doesn't have the danger check. Yeah, because this is a check we were looking at with the different things. So theoretically that should then work. This is gonna be a bitch to debug though. Do you have a save game where you know this is happening, Code Optimist, and you can see if you can if it's changed? Because I'm not really sure how to set up a testing environment for this. Although I guess it shouldn't be too hard, actually. Can we spawn mountains and things like that? Right, so this is a little bit of gold. If we can spawn some mountain in front of that and then designate gold, then it should only get that little piece. Possibly. There's no other gold on the map. Let's see if we can spawn. Oh, it's definitely not going to be a pawn. Corral spawn. Is it buildings? Is it set terrain? That looks, yeah, cool. No, this is terrain devs. This is not bugger. We can probably just put a wall in front of it. Doesn't need to have to be fancy. So, that one should not be designated by the manager now. Let's find out. It would help if I actually had manager loading. We'll set that up. Okay. Main menu, mods, colony manager. I'd have made it a positive check and just checked that the target cell at the end of the path mode had cardinal minables. Yeah, but then I would need to duplicate a lot more of the actual pathfinding code. Like right now I'm just relying on the vanilla code to figure out the entire path. Then I would need to figure out which surrounding tiles are actually reachable first, and then for each of them check or... I mean, it's certainly doable, but it's just more work. And I mean, we know that vanilla has code for this because it doesn't allow it when pawns are actually doing the mining job. So there is a way to make sure that this doesn't happen. So then it's just easier to use that code or reuse that code, especially because if vanilla ever changes it, yeah, not just copy it, try to use it. Because if it gets changed in vanilla, then it also gets changed in yours, which is ideal. Right, I'll manage a desk, set up a mining thing. We want gold, we want loads of it, and I want you to do that and do that every hour because I'm very impatient. Is anybody managing? Manage. Hey, it didn't designate that at least. Did it designate anything? Nope. Because I guess it couldn't. Alright, again, nothing. Let's just check we haven't broken anything. So with that removed, this one should get designated. Also, let's make sure that we aren't accidentally, like this is not a roof support or something. Because the default simple version of that is just to leave one tile every 10 tiles, basically. Which simplifies things massively, but it's not super reliable. So let's quickly do that check again first. Right, that's still working. Gracie, come back. Or Tooth. Bugger! Why didn't you not get designated? have no idea what that even is. I think that's my calculations for the what's the name? The cave-in stuff. Why are you not working? You should definitely be working now. I'm really annoyed that you don't. You've got gold selected there, you've got gold selected there, you're allowed everywhere. Turn that whole thing off, check room boundaries off. Shouldn't be it, but maybe. Yeah. Let's try again. Oh, come on! That is gold, right? Bugger. Are you working for different things? Oh, just everything. Nope, I seem to have completely broken it. Oh well. I think this might be... Yeah. Alright. No, I think this immediate thing is actually supposed to test when you're right next to it. So I can't use it in that way. That's also why it doesn't have a danger mode. Because this is just checking for the target if it exists and everything. It's not actually doing any path calculations. And here it's just saying like, okay, is it adjacent and are you allowed to touch? And then it goes to this function, and that doesn't do any path finding either. That just checks the cells right next to it. Okay. So this is a non-starter. This should just be can reach. Shouldn't you have a danger mode? Oh no. Wait, I'm not even editing my stuff. You cannot edit this kind of stuff. Don't say it. This one should just be can reach. And then you need to have a danger mode, yeah. You can have some danger. It feels like that sometimes, Benador. It really does. Alright, so if it's already next to it, then yes, you can reach that. If it's somehow not valid, then no, you can't reach it. If your path end mode is on cell touch, closest touch, and you cannot pass doors, and you cannot pass all destroyable things, then check if the rooms are actually like if you can get from the room to the room. So that's just the quick and dirty pathfinding. Otherwise, that one. And otherwise, we actually start doing the pathfinding done. Jump path, resolve path mode, destination to target info. I have no idea what this is even supposed to be doing. It returns a target info. So if it's touch, then return destination. If it's closest touch, then resolve closest touch path mode and return that. No, I don't think this is it. No, this is just, yeah, no. Okay, so this is add allowed adjacent regions. Bottom left, top, right. Get adjacent corners. For the destination, yeah. Adjacent cells. It looks like it's doing it already. I'm sorry, I just need to have a quick sanity check on this because I feel like this should already be working. And only gold, and then this should be working again. And the count will update eventually. Save view. All right. So right now it's not designating that one. We deconstruct that. Oh, wrong button. Then it is. Optimist. What are you talking about? This fix. This was never broken. Poof. Sending me on a wild goose chase. Like, I literally changed it back to the way it was. So this is the virtual version I copied out. But the original is this version. That is literally the same function. Yeah? Is reachable, can reach, same function, same set of functions. Do you have... You didn't have this toggle still on, right? Check if targets are reachable. Because otherwise it will just skip that entire thing. But, I mean, I've turned off all of the things that could be other reasons to leave them up. So this is like dangerous mining. It doesn't care about whether or not there are pillars. It doesn't care about breaching into rooms. So it's just looking if it's reachable and etc. If I do it this way, it works. Okay, so yeah, we can agree this should be working. This gold should be designated. If I have a structure in front of that, if I add a wall there, so then this is diagonal, this should not be designated, right? Right, it's already doing it. It's not designating it. I remove that. It's already doing it again. It is getting designated and mined. Now he's going to designate that one. Now those three. I mean, it's designating them now, but that's because he's mining and somebody else is doing it. So this seems to be me like it's working as expected, to be honest. Right. Another issue, or non-issue, and I completely believe that there are circumstances under which this can happen. So when you do run into them, just share me the save game, and I'll have a look. Yeah, if you can give me a case where it happens where I can replicate it, then I'll be happy to have a look. But right now, I don't see any reason why this should be. Yeah. So this just seems to be working. So I'm gonna delete this one again because it's not doing anything. Do we actually have any changes now? And what did I actually change now? Yeah, some spacing. You might have harmonized this reach in some other mod, of course. Yeah, that's entirely possible. Again, that is also the reason why I would need a save game. So I'm looking at the save game, then I can use Mod Manager to just install all of the mods from that save game. I'm hoping you have mostly Steam mods, so that I can actually run it. And then I can look at it in situ and also look at what other patches are applied and etc. Stuff like that. Because right now I can't see it. I don't know what's going on there, so it's working for me. I don't want to do that one. Right, let's do progress. The colors. Wanted to fix that one for forever. See, also FluffierThanThou worked out 86 apparently. So there's another one about that. Um, 87, 85. Where did 80? Did I not close it yet? No, I didn't. Where did 86 go? I can probably just go to them directly, right? Yeah. Has it just disappeared? Oh, that was a pull request. Yep. Yeah, I didn't like the way this was being done for some reason. Yeah, he kind of did a couple of things at once. But the main problem... The hell? Oh yeah, sure. Wow. Yeah, the main problem is he's doing too much. He's doing different things in one pull request, and I didn't really like that. And it looks like he's also adding a list of colors, that seems a little bit overdoing it. I was just going to interpolate between them. Yeah, it could be mining priority. Seems a little bit odd because then they would also have to alter the vanilla job to do this properly. The thing is, if that method was changed, then vanilla, like the pawns, should also be able to mine them. Because I'm using the same method to check if I can designate them as vanilla is using to check whether or not a pawn can mine them. So, yeah, there's a weird discrepancy there. The hell? Right, yeah, if you're going to allow people to set colors, then you also have to deal with hex colors and everything. Yeah, this is way overdoing it. We're not going to do that. We're going to keep this much simpler. Right. First, let's go to the work tab. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's some way in which they could have changed them, but then you would. I mean, yeah, no, I guess there's a possibility. I don't know how it would have happened. I like being right. Okay. What we're looking at here is colored priorities, and I think I had them. I'm going to actually add work tab to the list. Can remove mod manager because we're not looking at it anymore. Later, and generate a small map for us again because we don't need to load a save game. Go do that. So the point is that, yeah, the one is green, which it kind of should be, and then it goes to gray very slowly. Did I fix this already? No, the problem was that this is hard coded to 9, and if I change my levels of priority, I also forgot a translation string there apparently. But if I change my levels of priority to 4, for example, then it doesn't really work anymore because it's not like the colors go off. Like it should still be going from green to gray, basically. I think. Let's just have a quick look at how vanilla would actually do this. I'm not even entirely sure. The vanilla tab looks like anymore. You could hardcode 1 and 2, but lerp the color for 3+. Yeah, I was just going to be lazy and lerp the color from 1 to whatever the range is. I have really no idea what I'm doing at the moment, why it's not green at all. Because I would kind of expect it to just still be lerping from 1 to 9, and therefore everything in the beginning would be greenish and never go to gray. But that's not what's happening, so that's kind of odd. Anyway, Just quickly confirming what the vanilla way is. That's using yellow, an ugly yellow as well. Right. Let's start with just the easy route and lerp from 1 to x. This would be in pawn column work giver. We can at least find it from here. Right, the box and interaction. So this is where it's in. Right, good luck hunting at that. I'm very curious. I'm also curious how you managed to like make yeah, that's binary search though, isn't it? Like A/B testing basically. Yeah, I'm curious how you managed to screw it up so that the colony manager thinks it can assign them, but the jobs cannot actually do them. Yeah, it is. Very. Huh? Alright, anyway, this is the code that actually draws it, so if it's 0, then don't draw anything. Font small, game font small or medium. Where would I ever draw things small? Oh, I guess that's for the subjobs. Yeah, it makes sense. Anyway, so wow. I sometimes I get a little bit overzealous with different types of colorings and everything, and like adding functions for everything. But I guess it's actually a little bit more complicated than I thought it was. First 1/3 of priority level is lerp from green to white, then lerp to gray from there. So 0, return gray, sure, whatever, but we don't actually draw 0 ever, so that doesn't really matter. The first third is settings max priority, that's sure, but that's only 1, because this is integer division, so this is just going to be 1 setting if it's on 4, or actually if it's anywhere below 6. And then the rest is, sure, that's the letter 3. Yeah, this is just going to be 1. I can float it all I want, but that's still 1 divided by 1. So that's going immediately to white. That's why we don't have any green there. And then later on it's going to gray. Alright, so I have 2 problems. The first is that I say I'm starting at 1. I'm counting at 1, so priority 1 is like our minimum. But the actual function expects 0 to be the minimum. So we're never actually using bright green. If I see this correctly, because priority is always a minimum of 1. So we're never going to be actually starting the lerp at 0. That's the first problem. I guess that's the main problem actually, because if we fix that, then the first third would just be green, and after that we would immediately go from gray to whatever, from white to gray. Which may still not be entirely what we want, but let's do this to a half. Consider the rest of it, sure. So if the priority is smaller or equal than first half, so that's if it's 1 or 2. And then we kind of want to offset this. So let's just say minus 0.5. Why is that not working? Is that working? So the order of operations is priority divided by first half. If priority is 1 divided by 2, we end up at a half. No, this is not okay. Because now we don't have... yeah, because if priority is 2, then we do 2 divided by 2, and then we end up with a half. So now we're offsetting too much. We just need to do minus 1 there, and minus 1 here. Because then if it's 1, then it's 0 divided by 1 is 0, and then we end up with bright green. And if it's 2, then it's 2 divided, or 1 divided by 1, still the same thing. So then we have 1, which is the bright white, which is kind of what we want here. Right. I think here we actually have the opposite problem, in that if our priority is 4, or is this working? If our priority is 4, do minus first half, then we end up with 2, and we divide it by the rest, which is 4 minus 2, which is 2 again. So that would be 1. That works fine. If our priority is 3, we end up with 1 again. Now we need to do the same thing here as well, I guess. Turned out nice again. I think that should do the trick. So this is what we have at the moment, and it's just stuck in white to gray. Let's see what happens when we reload this. Not terribly much, Ardolf. We found out that the mining thing was not actually in my part of the code. And Optimus is just trying to figure out right now what he did and how he did it. And we were looking at, or I was looking at, the color interpolation for... Oh yeah, that's not great. Color interpolation for the work types, the work settings, because it was working at 9 priority levels, so that's, most people leave it at that, I guess. That's the default for my mod. But with 4 it wasn't working because we never got it to green. But now I set both to the extremes, so that's not working either. You know what? I don't like this whole damn thing. simplify the whole silly buggers and just return from green to gray the interpolation. Done. The replace stuff mod? How is that possibly? Okay. Interesting. So this is going from green to white. And this is saying priority -1 divided by max priority. Settings max priority -1. And we need to cast this to a float because otherwise we get integrator vision, which means that this will always be 0, which is not what we want. Much simpler. Inverse lerp for the t value. Can you explain that a little bit more? I'm not entirely sure what you mean with. I don't know what an inverse lerp does, or why would we use that. So that would probably be in mathf lerp inverse lerp. Can't just press F1. Okay, so inverse lerp is just getting you the it's doing the same math then, right? Yeah, it's getting the minimum and the maximum. Yeah, this is just what I'm doing. All right, yeah, sure, cool. Is that gonna matter? Yeah, lerp is linear interpolation. So we're doing it for colors, but then the inverse lerp is just to get from, like, I have a certain priority number and I have that within a range, so from 1 to x, and inverse lerp just gives me a value from 0 to 1 within that range. Yeah, it is better to rely on libraries, sure, fair enough. I do like to know what it's actually doing. So minimum priority is always 1. This is well, max priority, and then our actual value is the priority. That is very interesting. Optimist. I have no idea what you do in that mod that could possibly cause this kind of thing to happen. Yeah. Have you guys had any experience with this IL to C++ thing or something? It's like, from what I understand, it allows game developers to basically make a transpiled C++ version. Is that actually working? Is that catching on? Because that's kind of a harmony killer. Hmm? Well, my experience with transpiled code is that it's messy at best, but yeah. We rebuild it. We just need to. restart again. That's a shame though, because there's a lot of Harmony games that that weren't actually meant to be modded, and that you can now mod because of did I say Harmony games? I meant Unity games that you can now mod because of Harmony. But if lots of people are starting to use the IL to C++ or C# to C++, then that's going to be a slight issue, isn't it? Yes, true. I mean, even like you can also from dnSpy, you can directly modify things and edit it and create fields and properties and methods and stuff, which happened before. But Harmony is just on a different level. I mean, you can build a loader and then like hack that into the assembly, and then from there you can just load in arbitrary code, which was much harder to do before Harmony. At least the way I understand it. Let's see if this looks halfway decent. No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. I don't like this. 3 should not be so cheery. And why is it only going to white? Did I only do white? Yeah, I did. Yeah, I guess I do need to add a midway color. Bah, didn't want to. Let's see what happens with gray first, and then we'll work on it. Oh god, no, that's even worse. No, we just get a dark green. No, we do need to go through there. Alright. If priority is smaller or equal than two, then we'll lerp from green to white. No, let's do this. Basically go back to the old way, but just do it properly this time. But the inverse lerp is going to help quite a bit here. Is smaller than halfway. Then we lerp from green to white. We inverse lerp up to halfway. Hey. Otherwise, return lerp from white to gray. Map inverse lerp. Using floating point map. Inverse lerp from halfway to settings max, and again we're using the priority. Right, that should do the trick, and we don't need the else statement because that is implied. Okay, that is both simpler and should actually work properly this time. So 1 is green, 2 is white, because we're using exactly 4 points. I'm okay with this. This is fine. At some point you'll just have to go with a lot. I still don't know what they're supposed to be doing exactly. I've seen them around at some point. I know that they're a big thing in this like city skyline for the color corrections and stuff, so I have an idea that it's about a color correction. But is it like a linear like in my mind it's sort of like a dictionary of like colors and replacement colors for that stuff. But yeah. Did you find out why it's happening, Code Optimist? Or did you just report the bug? So this is yeah, and this is the version in the 9-point table basically, which I'm also fine with. I'm sure people will complain because the colors will have changed, but we'll get over it. Given you usually use a texture for lots. How do I pronounce it even? Do I pronounce it a lot, or is it? What does it even stand for? I should Google this. Fix color priority colors for all max priority settings, and that resolves an issue. No, that's calling manager. This is the pull request, and we actually had an issue that did something for this. 120. Is it that simple? Is it really just a lookup table? Oh gosh. All right. Yeah, that sounds like it's a likely culprit. Okay. I'm just going to push this, and then I'll have a quick look, because I'm kind of interested in this stuff. So this is so if you have a very simple example for different lookup tables, what you mean is that you can use this to go from any of these to any of the others or something, or from the top one to any of the 3 below it. Because essentially this is just like if you have like the poster filters on Photoshop or something, or on some of the apps and stuff, then they're kind of doing this kind of thing, aren't they? Color at the point I give it is the result I get from the lot. All right. Okay. So what kind of color space do you use to give it a point from in one-dimensional? Is that just a U thing? No, can't be. Right. it's still working. Right. Yeah, fair enough. Okay. Let's see if there's something quick we can still look at. That's probably not going to be a mod manager. Oh, what did I just close? Because it's supposed to be that one. Oops. Oh yeah, no, that one's not been fixed. Oops. Let's just do it from here, shall we? Alright. These all look annoying. That's a kind of big job. That's a big job. Manager buttons and info panel not showing when a mod is selected. Interesting. Oh yeah, we can do this one quickly. That shouldn't be too hard. So that's in the blueprint mod. Let's have a quick look at it first. Yeah. Oh yeah, that was another one. It's always a fun thing to figure out. Hey. Hey, puppy. What's the vuurwerk? Fireworks. Our puppy just came in. You can just see it's there. There we go. There we go. Aww. I don't have a very long cable on my camera, so. But I know. Yeah. We're adding blueprints. Yeah, the medical tab is always a giant problem because there's a lot of different conditions that pawns can have, and there's not really any programmatic way to see what is good and what is bad. So you have to like really make assumptions about what kind of stats should be high and low and all that kind of jazz. No. Well, it's working in to the extent that apparently it's altering the function that I use to check if it's mineable, if it's slushable, and that should be the same function that the mining job actually uses. So maybe you were just not used to it being possible, and then it looked like it wasn't possible or something. But it's still a weird, like you wouldn't expect that kind of functionality in a completely different mod. That's just feature creep, as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, we were looking at blueprints, and currently we can only create a blueprint by selecting something. So let's say we have a beautiful little room created here. Got 4 walls, a door, a bed, and heck, we can even give him a torch. This is the height of luxury in my colonies. So we want to copy a blueprint from that. That works just fine. And because we're in God mode now, we can just plop it down anywhere else. We're not in God mode, it will just plop down designations. Okay, that works completely as intended. The request I had is to make it so that you could make a selection and then create a blueprint from that. So for example, if I wanted to exclude the little torch, I could do it directly by just selecting everything else and then like clicking a create blueprint button or something. Which I think is a good idea, and from a technical point of view, it's also it's just one step less. Because what I'm doing is I'm using the selector to select like the designator thing to select the buildings in that area and then create it from there. So this is just one step middle out of the way. So I need to add a button to the selection tool, I guess, for when multiple things are selected. Yeah. And it looks like this is the same kind of tab. So only when one thing is selected does it give extra information. Okay. Yeah, so why is that a thing inside a mods that's about replacing buildings? Yeah, shouldn't be. Write a good bit of code of me that basically did all the mod should do. Replace buildings instead of having to demolish them if you want to build it with different stuff, then more and more stuff got added. Yeah, you see that a lot. I tended to do that as well when I started out. Just because you feel like, yeah, I've got this amazing mod that people are using and I just want to make that better and better. But at some point you need to stop it. Because it doesn't get better anymore. It just gets bigger. And bigger is not always better. Awesome. 3 mod conflicts are the best. Yeah, people subscribe for what the mod advertises, and then the problem is also if you run into issues with it, it becomes incredibly hard to debug. Because some random mod is doing something unexpected in a completely unrelated area. Yeah. I mean, then call it miscellaneous tweaks and fixes or something. I mean, you've got a couple of mods like that around as well. That's fine. Then at least you know that it does some random stuff. Even then, I'd prefer if you just released a bunch of mini mods, but alright, let's not get into that. It would be nice if we could add whatchamacall these? Gizmos. That would be ideal, I guess, because a button in here would be a little bit hacky, but a gizmo would be nice. Okay. Should be able to do that. Let's have a look at where this comes from. So this is in the selector, I think. That's RimWorld selector. Select inside drag box, selectable objects, select. I'm looking for something that's like, is this selected? Return the selected content. Yeah, so this has like the list of things that we have. And you can handle map clicks and that will just, yeah, select matching shit under, yeah, okay, so this is the one we want. Selector on GUI is doing map clicks, clearing selections at current tab. No, that's not what we want. I'm thinking there should be a gizmo generator here somewhere, but I'm not seeing it. Is that selection drawer? No. No, that's selection bracket, so that's just a small helper for this. No. Alright, so that's not it. Gosh, what was the thing called again? I always have trouble finding this. Does anybody of you know what the class is that does the like that draws the gizmo bar? Is it Gizmo Grid? Something with Gizmo Grid, right? Yeah, get gizmos is like the various functions that do it. Gizmo Grid drawer. Inspect Gizmo Grid is probably it. Draw, inspect Gizmo Grid for selected objects, mouse over Gizmo. This looks like it should be it. To be fair, no, it isn't. If you can't pick it up, then you shouldn't be allowed to mine there. That's just a, if not a bug, then at least an obviously missing feature. Like if you're allowed to mine it, then you should be allowed to pick it up. Which I would actually like, because I often have when you like build a series of rooms together. So you like designate a very little buildable area on this map. But like you designate some rooms like this. And then like this cell will fill. And they'll leave some wood in there. And then they can't build there anymore. And then you have to remove that one to build that one again. And then this one again. And oh, that's so annoying. Anyway. We were trying to find where the gizmo grid comes from. So this is the draw inspect gizmo grid for the selected object. So I'm assuming this is what we're looking for. I'm just going to analyze and see where it comes from. It's used by main tab window, inspect, draw inspect gizmos. Yeah, that's fine. This is what we need. Okay, so we're looking at the object list, and we're adding all of our selected objects. We're clearing our gizmo list, and then for each object in there, we're looking at the object and calling get gizmos to add it to the gizmo list. Then we loop over the object list again. Because the first time we just look if it's a selectable, and the second time we look if it's a thing. Sure. Then we look at the reverse designated database, and this is to get, related gizmos, so uninstall, copy, that kind of stuff, right? Right. There's not really an obvious place to hook into this. Because I could add I could add like a blueprint designator to like individual things, but that's not ideal. Or selectables. So I kind of feel like I just want to harmony it in. Yeah, yeah. At least you've got it figured out, and it's. I mean, if it's a toggle, then you can just turn it off, and then it's not a problem anymore. That's good. It's always good to know where the casting and stuff came from, and hopefully he can add the diagonal pickup, and then I might actually use the mod for that. Or maybe he can make a different mod to allow a diagonal pickup. That would be even better. Yeah. So I think what I want to do is just break in right here. Can I actually like type here? I can. So I think that's so dangerous. I want to break in there. And in the inspect gizmo grid gizmo list add blueprints gizmo whatevs. Yeah, and I want to do this if blueprintable. That's basically the logic. That should be doable. It's a shame there's no there's no function like get gizmos or something for this, because that would be much simpler to hack into and to just append the blueprint one or prepend it or whatever. But I don't think we have that option here, so this seems like it's the preferred way to do this, probably. Right. Going to intermediate language mode. I hate this. I hate this so bad. Ooh, wrong button. Don't do that, please. This is the end of that loop. This is clearing the list. So this is where we want to add it. After that one, we insert our stuff. Right? Where's their window stack here? Did I miss that? Oh yeah. Yeah, sure. Okay. Anyway, after object list clear, we want to expand our gizmo list. I'm not entirely sure what you were talking about, Smashville. I'm trying to. So the idea was that instead of making a blueprint with the designator like this, where you can just drag a box and then you can make a blueprint, that you would be able to select some stuff, whatever, and then you can basically click a button here that says, like, sure, add a blueprint or create a blueprint. Yeah. So I figured out where the gizmo grid for the selected thing comes from. So that's a draw inspect gizmo grid. And the problem with that is that it's one giant method, so it doesn't have a specific method. Like all the other ones have to have like a method that just collects all of the gizmos from various sources, and this just gets all of the objects and then gets any gizmos that are related to the objects. I could theoretically, possibly, maybe put them on objects, but then I'd have to deal with extra logic to I mean, they would get merged. They would get merged, and we do have this merge with function. It's funny that it groups with is the same as merge with. This is a check and this is the actual doing it. Why is it not called merges with? But anyway, it doesn't matter. Maybe we should just do that instead. That actually looks like it might be a better idea. But we thanks, Sir Delph. We don't necessarily want it to show up when we just have one thing selected, because then you can just build a copy. So it needs to have at least two different things, and then we want to show up. So I'm not sure if that's possible. This is guess my GUI is disabled for a particular reason. We've got a visible property, and I could just check if we've got two different things selected that are buildables. Yeah, this looks like it might be a good idea. Theoretically, maybe, possibly. Yeah, can get started on that. Probably won't finish it tonight, but okay. I haven't worked in blueprints for a while, apparently. Alright. This is one of my favorite mods, actually. Because it's relatively straightforward and simple, but it's it works really well. And it just doesn't have all of the clutter and like the it's not necessarily feature creep, but just like scope creep or something, maybe, I don't know, that some of my other mods have. It's nice and controlled. It does one thing, it does that well. That's the kind of mod I like. Yeah, we're doing blueprints. We're looking at, I'm going to explain it again. No, I'm not. We're looking at a different way to create a blueprint. So instead of creating a blueprint like this, I want to create a blueprint from what we currently have selected. No, I don't think so. I don't think I've done anything about it. I've changed the, I've fixed the rotation and the flipping code a while back. And since then I haven't really done anything with it. So like this flip stuff now works. That didn't used to work before. Finally got that worked out. I mean, there's a couple of issues in the preview, as you can see. Don't really care right now. Like the link flags are wrong. So it's trying to do the wrong graphics. But it does now rotate them properly, and just the previews are wrong, but once you actually build it, like when you build that, it goes fine again, so. Solar panels seem to come in with broken rotation. They shouldn't anymore, but that's a tiny quick look. Just create myself a slightly bigger map. Production, no, this is power, obviously. It used to have a problem with buildings that were not symmetrical, which is the case for solar panel because it's 4x4. So the like the anchor cell is on like 2-2 or something somewhere. So that's not symmetrical. So that's it's entirely possible that that would have given a problem in the past. But let's just add some stuff in here to. I think this should make it obvious if something is wrong. So we can rotate it around. That works. We can flip it. That works. Yeah, seems to work. Yay. Anyway. So this is the designator to create a blueprint from dragging and dropping. So maybe we should rename this. But that's also dev linked, so let's just leave it. Maybe we can even merge it, although I doubt it. Transparent plasma grid is what I was looking for. I was trying to find out what a reverse designator actually is. That's just a designator. I'm trying to think of how I define that one. So that will be in, yeah, good question. There's no designator folder. They changed the way they make, like they ordered the devs halfway through development, which was amazing. Makes it so easy to find stuff. Could you consider ways to grid the terrain based on the rectangular selection and apply build devs for them? I'm not entirely sure what you mean, but I think you mean like so that you can like build blueprints for larger bases in like in parts or something, and have like a regular part size. You see that sometimes with like Factorio blueprints. Is that what you're talking about? I mean, either way, no. I'm not really considering doing this for huge blueprints. The idea of the mod is really it's in MISC. Cool. The idea is really to do rooms and possibly sometimes sets of rooms, but the focus is on rooms, and I'm not really concerned with making a giant. Although the only really reason that I don't care about it is because it's a hard-coded limitation in the dragging designators. So if you do it through selection, like what we're doing now, like by default you can only select, what is it, 30, 40 items or something, but with allow tool and other mods you can oh yeah, no, it does do carpet. It does that already. It does terrain devs and buildable. It does all buildable devs. So that's terrain devs and thing devs. The terrain itself, no. If it's natural terrain, then no. That said, if anything changes that natural terrain to be buildable, so if you have like, I don't know, fertile fields or stuff like that, then it should be blueprintable again. Anyway, I was looking at designators, and this is a reverse designator. So there's... How is that even linked to any? This is not even linked to anything. Am I going crazy? I'm going crazy. I'm looking at designations, not designators. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and the designators were also not in here. Okay. Um, okay. So for example, designator deconstruct is one that we would. That is a reverse designator, isn't it? No idea. Honestly, no idea. Let's see. Key bindings, key bindings, key bindings. Why are there so many key bindings for this? This is not referenced anywhere else. Because this is all in languages, so this is all translations. That's not interesting. And this is just the key binding stuff. I guess this is linking directly to the class. It's not actually right. This is not a def. This is just directly linking to a type of class. Okay. Oh gosh, I'm so. Which means that on the actual building it should be then or something. I have no idea what it is anymore. Alright. I think I'm getting a little bit too tired to do this properly. So I'm gonna call it a night now. Maybe have a little look off screen tomorrow and figure it out a little bit before I get started on this, and then yeah. I have a busy weekend planned out, so I probably won't be streaming tomorrow at all. Maybe I want to see if I can find some time on Sunday. But yeah, I'll let you guys know. Thank you very much for hanging out, and yeah, if you have any suggestions for things we could look at, yeah. Belader, I realize there are classes, but I need to figure out how they're attached to the buildings and how they're attached to the reverse the designators and stuff like that. And I'm just getting a little bit foggy in the head right now, so it's not not going very smoothly. Anyway, as I was saying, thank you very much for hanging out. I hope to see you guys again later in the weekend, maybe, and or next week or whenever. At some point, I'll try and have a fixed schedule or something like that. Yeah, it's been amazing. Thank you. Have a good night.